I used to like go on social media and I saw people doing big things and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not,
Same.
I feel insecure. I feel
Yeah.
like I feel like I need them to bring me there. But the more I started doing stuff for myself, the more when I see those same people doing big things, it's like I'm happy for them instead of jealous of them, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
It's
No,
like
no, for
I
sure.
know I could be there too,
Yeah.
but my path is currently here and I'm happy with what I'm doing right now.
Welcome back to the Corner Talks podcast. I have my good friend here.
How's it going, man? Happy to be back.
No, it shouldn't be about anything. Like, this is one life.
Yep, one life. Like, fucking do it.
My guy.
Like, she just got it. She totally understood it.
20 years old when I started just watching a lot of movies.
And it tells a story. I want to tell a story.
Talented actress, dancer, model, Ava Corley Myron, better known as Kue6ix. What's going on? Oh, she's showing off. Oh, that's sick. She's showing off some merch. Is that available for sale? Can we get it?
No.
Oh, okay.
My friend made it for the music video I just filmed, so
That's amazing. How did that go, by the way?
it went really good.
Yeah,
I
you're
was like,
excited?
yeah, it's my first like rap song that I'm gonna release.
Nice.
Basically all the dancers I train with, like I recruited them or they wanted to do it with me. So like we did a video with like dancers and it was really nice.
That's amazing. No, that's amazing. That's great to hear. And like how I introduced you, you're multi-talented, right? Like when I first was introduced to you by my good friend Abil, co-producer on Demon, the short film that I directed you in the performance, I had no idea that there was an array of talent within yourself. Like I honestly thought you were just an actor. And then you go on your Instagram page and you're a dancer, you're a model, and you're a singer as well, which is something that he informed me about. You have your own Spotify tracks coming out. So kudos to you, like just killing it out there, like really being a true artist through and through.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, like I mentioned, we known each other. We were introduced to each other because of this short film called Demon. And we approached you to play the part of V. I don't want to get into too much details, but this is a very intriguing performance for yourself, right? Something that captivated you as a female. You commended me on my writing that she was a strong female lead, and she was the star of the show, and that's how I kind of saw it as. And I thought it was just so badass. That's how I love to see my female characters, very empowering. And you did beautifully portraying it. Obviously, we still have to edit it and put it all together, but you did your job. The rest is up to me, as they say, But
I love that. Like the first thing, like when I read the script and I realized like the female was basically the protagonist because she ended up. Oh, I don't want to spoil it.
No, don't no worries. But she was basically the center of the film.
Yeah, basically, she was like. It's just like I was like really happy because I'm like. The female is like the most important, and it's like you don't see that a lot. So
no, for sure. And that's something that you and I like kind of bonded over on set, right? In between takes. It's something that I do as a director with my actors is I try to make them understand who I am, like how I came up with the character, the vision I have for the role. And that's something that I told you from day one. It's kind of like, I'm that kind of guy where, being a male, I don't care to see female or male. It's just like equality, right? For me, but there is something about that empowerment, right? There's something about that significance that you can bring to a character that just, again, like makes it more captivating for the viewer, I feel, and more compelling. I didn't want her to be perceived as just some background character, some toy, some trophy, eye candy, whatever have you. And for those that don't want to get I don't want to get too much into it, but for those that watch the film, at first you'll see it as she's the guy's love interest, or she's the girl, right? You can't touch her, and you don't realize that she can hold her own, right? So yeah, exactly, right. And again, the actors, Ovi, Abil, we got Timothy and we got Jermaine. They played those characters masterfully as well. But I love that dynamism, like the fact that you have this petite kind of girl like yourself, this woman amongst these like, testosterone driven kind of individuals, and how it just kind of all unfolds. So I don't want to say too much about Demon, but that's just a little sneak peek for anyone curious about the project Ava and I collaborated on. So we wanted to just hint there. Yeah. Ava's excited. I honestly, Ava, I mean this, when we wrapped, nothing brought me more joy to see you just in awe and, just enthralled by the whole like experience, like you were just absorbing it. You had a great time. There was a big smile on your face. So that means that you had a great time. And that's all we can ask for, right? As filmmakers. Yeah. So, speaking of, what we've collaborated on and your myriad of talents, I always like to know, how did you get involved in the arts? Like, how did you become Kue6ix?
How did I become Kue6ix?
Yeah, right.
Well, I grew up in a very like academic world, and for the majority of my life, I thought I was gonna be like a doctor. Like I was always really good in school, and I was the goody two-shoes and all that.
Right.
But like as I got older, I started getting more and more depressed, and I realized like this world, the way it's set up, this society, we live in a society,
for sure.
But this society is just like, I'm realizing like it doesn't benefit the human being, it benefits the corporations, the
system.
The system, right? We're just seen as pawns in their game, right? So I mean, that wasn't what made me turn to art. It was more, I was really, really low, I was depressed, I was having seizures from anxiety.
Wow.
So I was supposed to be going to university, but I couldn't because I was so anxious.
Right.
And so I took a gap year and I started writing, and I started going out and I started dancing with people on the street, and I started meeting people. And then I realized I'm gonna be an artist. I want to help change the world. I want to tear down the corporations. I want this world. And then I started getting into spirituality, and that's where like the whole like, it's more than just the art, it's transforming the world. And
it became your purpose. It became your purpose in life, right? It's not just about being creative or collaborating and things like that. It's now beyond you, right? It's bigger than you. And that's, I love that you said that, how you described it, because that's how it is for me with the dream, right? At this point, people ask, is it a passion? Is it a hobby? Is it something that you're doing to challenge yourself? No, it's a calling. Like, it's something that I feel like I was destined to do. I don't know why, but even if I try to go this way, I'm always pulled this way. You know what I mean? I feel like, I'm a spiritual guy in a way where I feel like there's a higher power. And I do believe like, no matter what I do, there's always this force pulling me back, whether I like it or not. And every time I stray away farther, it punishes me. Do you familiarize with something like that?
It's true. Like, the more you follow your heart, the more things kind of work with you. But the more you do stuff because it's the right thing to do, or like, like you have outside forces telling you to do this as opposed to that because theoretically and conceptually it's better. The more there's like inner resistance almost. It's like there's something wrong. It's like, for me, I feel it in my body a lot. Like I get like really low, like my mood and stuff when I'm doing stuff for myself. But it's also, but I definitely feel that it's like, it's a force, it's an energy. It's like, I feel like all artists are on that, like on that wave.
The same wavelength. Yeah. I got you. Yeah. No, for sure. No, 100%. And that's why I ask those questions. If you've been following my podcast for a while, like those that are listening, it's pretty much of a pattern, pretty repetitive of those questions. But I always do ask because I notice, and I want to establish as well, that we all come from the same place. If you really think about it, artists aren't like, there are some, don't get me wrong, I've had guests, my parents were for it and they supported me, they funded me, whatever. But there's always that hesitancy, there's always that doubt, there's always that incentive, you know what I mean, to kind of pursue the arts, and something that I see that more and more that's in common, because I suffered, I've been open, transparent about this on the podcast, is depression, anxiety, maybe not as severe. I'm not sure about how bad it was for you, but I do get to those points in my life, and the best way I overcome them is by being creative, by being, again, true to myself. And I think that's how you overcame that struggle in your life.
Literally.
Right.
Yeah. I think like depression is an epidemic. Like a lot of people are, right?
No,
and
yeah.
it's like,
but but it's
But
stigmatized
yeah.
too, let's be honest, right? Like not so much as now, but it's getting less and less. But for males, right? Like when I was talking about, dealing with anxiety or stress,
Mhm.
especially my family being traditional, they're like, stop talking about those things. Like you don't need to worry about those things. And I'm like, no, I don't talk about them, to get the attention. I'm trying to
Yeah.
vent. I'm trying to tell people like there's something wrong and I'm not sure what to
Yeah.
do. And by expressing yourself, you can find individuals like yourself that share those commonalities and you're able to get over them as well, right?
And like make it better for yourselves, not just you, but it's like everyone around you. I feel like
Exactly.
there's only two things. There's either inclusiveness and like improving yourself, and by doing that you're improving other people, or bringing yourself down, and by doing that you're also bringing down the people around you. There's
Exactly.
no middle. There's no, oh, it's only me, or it's only, like it's all connected. And I
There's
feel like,
no black and white. There's a gray
yeah,
area, right? Exactly.
yeah. And I feel like when people are depressed, it's like, when I was depressed, at least, it was like everyone around me in my life at the time was kind of depressed as well,
Yeah.
And it's like, but it was like sort of like this normal thing that we just accepted being depressed and accepted all the negativity around us. And like, it was almost like a competition, like it's an addiction to the negativity. But then it's like, as I had to be alone for a while to start healing, because
Yeah.
if you're surrounding yourself with people who are like you're just gonna stay in the same place.
But I'm
And now
glad
that
you,
I'm
yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
no, now that I'm like, I have been alone for so long, and that's actually the song after the next song I'm gonna release, called Lonely, and it's
Oh,
like about,
amazing.
yeah, it's
Nice.
a good lonely, yeah.
Get that plug in.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And I think that's so important. You have the bravery to admit that you needed to be alone, because that's something very interesting that you said. There's a lot of people, especially your age, my age, whatever, like millennials, Gen Z, they can't be alone.
Mhm.
Whether it's out of a relationship, whether it's, a toxic environment, they use distractions, and we're all guilty of it. I'm not saying I'm a
Mhm.
saint here, but I've learned the hard way. The only way
too.
to heal and the only way to find and love yourself truly is to be with yourself, to really sit with your thoughts and ask yourself those dangerous questions. That's part of the reason why I pursued this dream. Is I kind of said, like, what do you want for the first time in my life? And the answer was, is I want to be a filmmaker. And that's when I knew
Yeah.
what I had to do. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you always have noise around you, yeah, right. There you go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Hype me up. When you when you always have noise around you, toxicity, it drowns
Yeah.
it out. You can't think for yourself. It's almost like trying to write an essay and there's just like noise, like you're listening to a toxic podcast or just music in general. Like your thoughts are clouded, right? And you
Mhm.
can't think clearly and coherently. So really happy that you're mature enough to understand that, and you've come so far. It sounds like in your
Yeah.
journey, right? And you were a lovely person to work with on set. And I'll be honest, I never suspected you suffered with those kinds of symptoms. So the fact that you rose above it, kudos to you.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to the arts and why you pursued the whole like career path, like this whole journey, my whole thing is, why did you pursue these different art forms, and why do you kind of identify yourself as these
Mhm.
different sort of artists?
Yeah, honestly, like, it's not like I decided. It's more like I was called towards all these
Oh,
different
okay.
art forms. You know what I mean?
So,
It's
so
like,
you just like realized you had a specialty in each one of them, right?
yeah, and I think they're all connected. And I think like art is, well, first of all, we're all connected. Like, that's a spiritual thing.
Of
So it's like
course.
doing like one art form leads you to doing another, leads you to doing another, And it's like, if you label yourself as one thing, you're kind of cutting yourself off from all the other potential talents you might have. I feel like we all have a lot of talents, and like, if the only limitations we have are in our heads.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Yeah, that's the vibe I got, the impression I got from you when I looked at your profile is, here's a woman that, she may down the road in 5 years say, you know what, I'm going to only focus on acting, right? I have the acting bug, singing's not for me. But I like that you proudly label yourself as a singer, a dancer, a model.
yeah.
And that's what brought me to that's what brought me to you, right? Is instead of it just being actor, right? You proudly said, no, dancer, and you show it through your videos, right? Through your content.
Mhm.
And that's the great thing, right? That makes you a jack of all trades. That makes you someone that's easy to work with. Like you're not pegged to one thing, you know, we can find you
Malleable.
for different things, right? And that probably helps too, right? Like with networking. You don't just say,
Right.
oh, I'm not a singer, I can find someone for that. It's like, no, I can sing. You want me to sing for you? You know what I mean? So so you got it down pat. I love it. So that's great that you realized it as a calling. Now through the process, you know, going back to what you were saying, you come from a very academic traditional family. Was your family, your friends, the environment you were raised in initially supportive of this decision, or did it take a toll? Did it play a part in your depression?
Honestly, like so my mom is really the one that was like always like with me through my whole journey,
Nice.
like my depression and all that. And
Mhm.
because she saw how depressed and how sick I was, like after completing high school, and like because because I always was like a great student, and like I was on top of my shit and stuff, and
Right.
and after seeing how like sick I was, she's the one who kind of convinced me. It was like, maybe this isn't for you, you know, because my mind was still kind of stuck on, oh, I can't be anything else. I have to be like a doctor or like a professional of some sort,
And
you
that
know?
expectation was consuming you so much that it affected your health, right?
Literally. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was my mom who like yeah, literally. But it was my mom, it was my mom who kind of encouraged me to do the art route.
That's
So
amazing. That's amazing. Wow. So
yeah,
she had your back, and that's really touching to hear, right? Because even though
yeah.
we have parents that might be skeptical, might be worried, you know, my
Mhm.
parents for sure. Um, I can honestly say, looking back, you know, they always believed in me. It wasn't like they, you know, saw me as, because you have to know your kid too, right? Like, let's be honest. There's a lot of wannabes out there, right?
Yeah.
But my parents always knew how serious I was, and knew that when the time occurred, I would show up. But
Mhm.
at the same time, they were realistic, they were practical. They didn't want to, again, I came same background as you, practical, traditional academic family. You know, I got cousins that are CAs, I got cousins that are urban planners. We didn't really talk
Yeah.
about the arts in my family. So you have me coming along, and I'm the first one to say, no, I want to do something full time in the arts, you know, not on the
Yeah.
side, not as a hobby. Like, this is all I know, all I want to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, it all starts with like the parents kind of giving you that little bit of a push, um or the confidence, you know, that you know that they're on your side, even if they're a bit worried. I'm just thinking, recalling like how my parents were. Like, it was so interesting. Like when things were really good, they were like, I always knew you had it, keep killing it. And then sometimes it was like, they're not as bad now, but before it was like really like like back and forth, you know, polarizing. And then the next time they would be like, you know, do you really need this? Do you really need this stress in your life? Why
Yeah.
can't you do something normal, right? But that's something I wanted to ask you. Like, the more and more I pursue this dream, I've always embraced the idea of being different. I like being different, even though
Mhm.
sometimes I get frustrated, or, you know, no one wants to be that different where you don't belong, right? Everyone wants to belong somehow. But I
Mhm.
always enjoyed the idea that I'm doing something that's different than anyone else. You know, like what I do, no one else can do, and not because I'm
Mhm.
being pretentious about it. It's just
It's you.
whatever I produce from my head, you can't teach that. You know what I mean? Just like
Mhm.
for yourself, like no one can teach me how to make the songs you produce, right?
Mhm.
So I, you know, just endlessly am captivated by that, and it pushes me
Yeah.
more and more. Do you feel the same way when you create your art? Is that what
Oh
pushes you?
yeah.
Yeah.
And lately I've been doing a lot more experimentation in terms of music,
Nice.
and I'm finding my lane. I'm finding my sound, because like I I don't know, when you first start, you kind of try to replicate people that you
Yeah.
admire, but it's
And it's
not
normal,
fun.
apparently.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like it's the process, you know,
Yeah.
like, and it's not, yeah, it wasn't really me, and now I'm starting to find who I am as an artist, as a singer. And yeah, so I'm
That's
like on
amazing.
that path right now, learning.
That's amazing. No, that's great to hear. And that's the normal path, right? That's all part of
Mhm.
transitioning into Q6, right? The person
Mhm.
you want to be. So
Yeah.
yeah, so going back to your social media page, you know, upon observing it, I see that you have created an array of projects for yourself and pursued several collaborations with some talented artists across
Mm.
the film, music, and dance industry. So from your resume of projects, which ones bring you the most pride and fulfillment?
I think my zombie music video,
Okay.
because that was the first one where it was like I made the AV script, I recruited the dance, I paid everyone, like I got the location. It was the first one where I really had like I was the organizing force
Oh, okay, nice.
behind everything. Plus it was for my song. I felt like, I don't know, I was taking charge of a project like fully, and like yeah, and it was for my own video. It was for my own brand, for my own song.
Yeah, instead of
So
serving someone else's, you're saying you
yeah,
you got all your resources together, all your contacts, and you made something
yeah,
from your vision, right? Yeah, like you acted as a producer. That's exactly how Abil
yeah,
and I felt with these projects. Yeah, so highly
yeah.
relatable as well. Yeah, for sure. Um,
And I'm happy with the result too. So
you're happy with, sorry, what?
I'm
Oh, the
happy with the
results.
result.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, of course. No. And you should be, right? Like you put all that time and effort into it. And then it
Yeah.
just, and what you have to tell yourself as well is like, just to know it's only going to get better, because there are
Yeah.
so many things. Like that's what with Demon, right? The last project we worked on, we still had a great time, much better than my first project back when I was 20. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
um, we always know what to improve on. We always know what to do for the next time, right? And that's what makes us artists. Always realizing, areas in which we can build upon and
Mhm.
perfect, right? Even though there's no such thing as perfection, we can always strive toward it.
Yeah.
And that's our endless obsession.
Yeah.
I always say, as writers, right? We're all trying to tell the perfect story. That's why we're in it, even though there's no such thing as a perfect story. But
Mhm. It
it's
is
kind of
perfect in itself, because
it's
it
perfectly imperfect, right?
it's
Yeah.
yeah, like everything is on it is perfect, because it is what it is,
But I'm saying, but I know, but I'm saying, because people would ask me like, oh, like how do you write? How do you have the time to write? Or like how do you get that energy, right? Especially my sister,
Mhm.
she always cracks me up. And it's like I just told her, I said, we all, for me to write, it's because I know that the perfect story doesn't yet exist. And as writers, we
Mhm.
always feel like we can tell that perfect story.
Mhm.
Now, it's subjective because you might not think it's a perfect story, but once I'm done completing that story, I know it's perfect for me, right? And that's why
Yeah,
we continue to write stories,
exactly.
because if the perfect story existed, perfection is everybody unanimously agrees, right,
Yeah.
that it's perfect. You and I would
Mhm.
say, oh no, Jurassic Park was a perfect story. Sorry, like Daniel, I don't know why you're trying. Like we already know what the perfect story is. But no, like Jurassic Park isn't the perfect. I don't know why I use that example, but there's so many stories out there. And the reason why we create day in and day out is because we believe in ourselves as artists.
Mhm.
This is the perfect song. This is the perfect
Yeah.
story. This is the perfect music video. And I
This needs
just
to be put
on the
out there.
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
yeah, this needs to exist in this universe.
It
Like,
needs to be put out. Exactly. You
yeah.
said it beautifully. Like for me, that's when I knew I was doing it for the right reasons, where it was like,
Mhm.
yeah, of course, you want the money, you want the
Yeah.
vanity, you want, some recognition. That's what great makes a
Mhm.
great story, right? Is there is an audience.
Yeah.
However, I don't do it for those reasons. Like I never once entered the business thinking like, oh, I just want to like write stories and get paid. It's like,
Mhm.
no, I want to do what I love and get paid for it so I don't have to do
Yeah.
another job. But all the stories that I've made, I could have sold them by now. I don't know if I'd get money, but I could have just wiped my hands clean from them if I was only in it for the vanity, the money, or whatever have you.
Mhm.
But I'm not in it for that. I'm in it so that way my name's attached and I can tell the best story I can possible. And it can hopefully inspire people as much as the stories before me inspired me. Right.
Literally.
Yeah. So yeah, great analysis on that. And I want to know now, from we talked about your high moments with your projects. Were there any ones that you found challenging? Any projects that you wish you could have improved on, that gave you some hard lessons on life?
Um, I feel like just like collaborations in general, like teach me a
Hmm.
lot about the kind of people I want to work with.
Yeah.
But it also teaches me about the areas that I need to improve on when it comes to collaborating with other people.
Right.
Like I remember there was this one time that I just like I was doing too much, and like I went over to the studio and I was exhausted. I didn't sleep the night before,
Okay.
and it's like we were trying to be productive, but I couldn't. Like I wasn't giving the best version of myself because I,
Right.
I wasn't taking care of myself, and I had to leave. I was like, yo, I'm sorry. Like I kind of just wasted time. I just felt like I was wasting time, and it's like that's the kind of stuff where it's like you have to look at yourself and be like, what do I need to do differently in order to be the best version, the best artist I can be. And it also like I've been in collaboration situations where I just didn't appreciate the way they were moving, like
Yeah, the professionalism is very important. It's the artists, don't give themselves enough credit or try to, shy away from it, but you have to treat it like you're running a business. You have to treat it like you're working for a corporate office. A lot of people like denounce our artistry by saying, you don't need to worry about time, it'll get sorted out, or like, do it for the experience, the exposure, like, you should feel lucky you're doing it. It's like, no, I take it very serious. And if you take it serious, you'll attract and surround yourself with the people that take it serious. Like, again, bringing it back to Demon, like I was really impressed, yourself included, with the professionalism. That, think about it, like you guys were different ages. We're all in our 20s, but you guys were you're 20, right? 20.
19.
You're 19. Holy shit! So you're not even 20.
Almost on October.
all good. But my point being is that I know a lot of 19-year-olds, and it's like, whoa, like they wouldn't probably show up on time, and they would probably be like, settle down. But you really showed up, and again, like there's different age groups, but everybody acted accordingly. And I think that's what you need. And I'm really happy you're self-aware about that.
Yeah. I think like, I don't know about the whole like corporate office type thing.
Right.
Just because like I don't think life at all should ever be like that.
No. What I mean to say is like there should be some sort of structure. Like in terms of, no, you're absolutely right. I am completely avoidant of the corporate structure. I hate. But when it comes to a system in place, that's something you could admire, like organization. My mom taught me that since I was a kid, like being organized, clean, productive, disciplined, hardworking. Like those are things.
Literally,
right?
I feel like we telepathically.
We know each other. Love it. It's just those are critical. Like I'm telling you, Ava, like when you get older, as you keep doing this, you'll realize, like Abil and I, you know how we work. We're creative partners. We don't shit around. It's like you show up, that's it. And again, we're artists in our own way, but the way Abil operates too, very, very business oriented. I'm only going to call you once, maybe twice. After that, you're on your own. I'm not dealing with you. And you need that, because again, there's a lot of flakes. There's a lot of people that take you for a ride, and it's all fun in the beginning, right? When you're trying to make it, you're young, whatever. But when you're starting, like when you're 27, like me, and every project counts, and you're trying to make money, and you're trying to make something happen by a certain age, 30, like, trust me, push comes to shove, you have to show up, and you have to treat it like an organization in that sense. But in terms of the actual art, you should definitely not make it I hate that that regimented idea.
Like when we're on set, like me and you were like joking around, like it's fun, but we're also productive. And
we're also productive. And what I liked about you is when I said, okay, let's be serious because we got to shoot this. It wasn't like, oh my God, like stop being like that. It's you're serious. No, I'm serious. You're serious. Like you showed up. And it's like, but then in between, I was like, joking around with the blade, and we were making fun of Fruit Ninja. Like we were just because that's how I see it. It's like, I don't want to be. Do you remember that? She remembers that joke. Yeah. We were talking. I was telling you about my playlist, right? Like you're asking about my songs. That's what I mean, is that in the corporate world, I feel like you're really like, stagnant, like, oh, rigid, like, you can't do anything.
Scared of the big boss.
Scared of the big boss, right? And not that I identify as a big boss, but being the director on set, that's probably the leader. And I'm being honest about this. I've had actually people I've worked with that told me after the fact that they're really afraid because they didn't know who I was and how I was going to treat them, because they've dealt with projects where the director's like really just down their throat, can lash out at them and things like that. And I guess the way and you told me, you and Claire, right? Like you came up to me and you told me how I handled myself. It's like, there's no need to rip apart anyone when everyone's trying, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, do I really have to show you I'm the bigger man by doing that? No, I show you through my energy, right? It's like, we're all here for the same purpose. Now, if you want to act like that, you can leave, right? But a true leader, what I'm trying to say is like the big boss, like corporate, that's why I'm not a fan of that, because they use their powers for different reasons. Like they try to, prove something that they're manipulate, right? And it's like, that's not true power, right? True power is, who you are, where you stand, and everybody else feels it and everybody else respects you for it, right? You don't need to rip apart someone just to prove your point. Now, if it gets to that level, like that person clearly didn't belong there and everyone would support you on that. But that's my point, right? It's like, I'm not going to start intervening and acting that way. So really happy that everybody, was working with me that day. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
For sure. So what art form do you find though, do you most identify with or is closest to your heart? Or would you say they all are on the same playing field?
Like, yes, they're all in the same playing field, but I think dance is like, I've been doing it for the longest amount of time.
Yeah. Awesome.
And especially when I had like my seizures and stuff, it was because I was very restricted, like mentally, but also physically. Like I wasn't expressing myself. And now I realized like there was so much energy trapped in my body that my body would like see.
There you go. Yeah. No, but the ability to move, right? That's why they say exercise. Yeah, like get that energy flowing, get it. Yeah, release it, of course.
So that I really dance all the time, like on the subway, like.
Wow.
I just dance through life,
That's amazing.
It's like all this energy, like I'm meant to be moving,
So are you naturally an extrovert, or would you never in a million years see yourself dancing on a subway?
Oh yeah, I was naturally an extrovert.
Oh, okay, that helps.
When I was depressed, I was more like.
Of course,
but
yeah.
Now that I'm the real me again, I'm always I talk to people. I've never been scared of like meeting someone new and like getting to know them, and
That's
and
good. No, that's good. No, I asked that because growing up, I was very. I was seen as a very reserved individual, and I still can be, but in order to excel in this career, right, I've pushed myself, to be out there and really converse with different people, right? Because that's the only way we can expand the network. But I am curious if people start that way, like myself, like not start that way, kind of grow into that, like myself, or they are already that kind of individual, right? So that's cool. Yeah,
the latter.
The latter, yeah. No, it's definitely serving you for sure, and it'll be soon serving us. So I'm happy that dance is your favorite passion to pursue, or you identify with. So back to social media. Social media is a powerful platform that allows creatives like ourselves to communicate, connect, network on various projects, to reach potential clients, as proven with each other. You and I were only able to establish this professional collaboration because of the existence of the technology. And although social media has proven to be detrimental to our mental health as a society, it still offers a litany of benefits from those looking to create a brand, livelihood, and ultimately a legacy for themselves. Now, I want to know from you, like, how has social media served you as an artist?
I mean, like,
is it was it beneficial primarily, or did it get to that because you served yourself, if that makes sense?
Like it's literally my LinkedIn. Like I don't use anything
amazing. No LinkedIn, just social media, just Instagram.
Literally at this point, yeah, I feel like
I love
like it. Instagram is like the LinkedIn for dancers, and like on Spin, the Disney movie, like they found all the dancers from that movie from Instagram.
Oh yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
They looked at the profiles.
It's visual. How else do you? Yeah, you got to see how they move. There's so many dancers that I follow too, right? That I've gotten inspiration, right? But yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's like social media is only detrimental if like it's like your whole life,
Yeah.
Like I feel like social media is the cherry on top. You have to have like a solid, like your life has to be in this world, in the 3D universe. You get up out of bed, what are you doing with your day? If social media is like you're only doing stuff to post on social media and stuff, that's where it can get depressing, because it's like you're constantly comparing yourself. Your whole sense of worth and like purpose in life is on a 2D screen. That's not healthy. That's where so I think like social media is a very great tool, and I think like I think it's like so powerful, but you have to have that balance between the real life sense of purpose in this world, and using social media to kind of help with that. And I feel like that's what I do. I have my main focus of what I do in this world, and like in-person collaborations, and then social media is just like a little extra that you know?
like moments of documentation or just to showcase, what you've been up to, keeping people up to date, but it's not everything you base your entire existence on. And that's very
Literally.
important. And that's something that I kind of view social media as, for the longest time, is not some, I was never a fan of social media. I'll be honest, I don't really care for it as much. I care for it because of my business. Yeah, I care for it because of my business and the people like
Literally.
yourself that I connect with. But I prefer meeting people, talking to people in person. Like I get a different high, right? Some people live off of that, but that doesn't mean that we can't, like you said, make it serve our interests, right? Make it serve our benefits. I learned a long time ago, very fast, is that if I produce more than I consume, I'll avoid it being detrimental to me, right? So if I'm on it, just scrolling, but I'm posting, once a month, but I'm scrolling every day, right? 7 days a week, and I'm only posting once a month about things that matter to me. Of course, I'm going to be sad, right? Because that ratio, there's an imbalance. It's disproportionate. But if I'm posting, right, I'm sure you see my profile. If I'm posting like, 5 times a week, right, 7 times a week, and I'm also scrolling and stuff, I can also feel like I'm contributing. You know what I mean? Like if you can't beat them, join them, as they say.
Yeah.
So that's how exactly having that balance. And that's how I kind of seen it, because I feel like you won't compare yourself as much if you know that you're also putting yourself out there. Do you know what I mean? Like you're also trying
You're
yourself.
being the best version of yourself.
Exactly, right? Like you can't compare with another dancer because you're actually doing dance. It's not like you're sitting at home depressed, like your old self, because then of course you're going to be thinking like, oh, like look at these guys are doing what I love, what I excel at. You're putting yourself out there too, right? So it's like it's impossible if you're putting yourself out there as well to kind of hit that. And again, we're human. I'm guilty of it. We have our days. I'm sure you do as well, where it gets to us, right? But that's the time to put the phone away, right? And that's the time to realize, hey, there's bigger things in life to be grateful for. I think we lost sight of that. But I really loved how you described that, Ava, actually, like the cherry on top. That's how it should be. You build a strong foundation, right? Don't let anything define you. You know what I mean? That's what I kind of come to terms with during the pandemic. All these things, all these materialism, like even with this dream, right? Like I always think, oh, I'm going to find that guy that's going to like say, yo, he's going to pick me out and discover me. And you never know in life how things are going to happen. But instead of weighing on that, it's like, no, have the attitude that no one's going to define you. No one defines your dream but yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're responsible to get yourself there. You know what I mean? So I really believe that every artist should kind of possess that attitude.
I used to like go on social media and I saw people doing big things and I'm like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I'm not, I feel insecure. I feel like I feel like I need them to bring me there. But the more I started doing stuff for myself, the more when I see those same people doing big things, it's like I'm happy for them instead of jealous of them, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
It's
No,
like,
no, for sure.
I know I could be there too, but my path is currently here and I'm happy with what I'm doing right now. So it's like,
and that's the most important step. Is
so
to be
I go
self-aware.
there literally, and I just get inspired when I see people doing big things, and I think social media is great for that too. It's like whoa, like it kind of gives me ideas of what I can do almost.
Yeah, no, for sure. I love that you have that attitude. You're very positive individual. You're very optimistic, and that's what you need to be in order to survive in this industry. Right, because you could slip at any turn. Right.
Same with you, yo. I love your energy. I love being on set with you.
Thank you.
From day one, like it was just good energy.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I really appreciate that. I mean, it means a lot actually, because coming from someone that also like experienced my own kind of dark days, right? I always was a positive person naturally. You know what I mean? Like happy. But like yourself, when you're sad or like when you're in your dark moments, you were kind of closed off. So it's like it was important for me that the people I surround myself with never feel that. You know what I mean? Like I always wanted to make people feel comfortable, because when you make them feel comfortable, they bring their best selves out. So when we first met, and I introduced myself, like we had a Zoom call similar to this, and I was proposing all these projects. I said, okay, we'll take it in stride. But once you get to know me, of course, right? But like with anything, you don't want to overwhelm the person. But I'm that confident that it's like once you get to know me, you'll understand like how passionate I am and how much we can do together, right? So really happy that you see eye to eye on that, and looking forward to more collaborations.
True.
So social media has served you as an artist. We've already established that. How can we entice artists that are maybe are struggling with it or looking to establish themselves on the platform? Like, what can you tell them? Any advice? Any sort of words of encouragement?
Yeah, just follow your heart and do
Mhm.
do stuff in person. Go out. You
Right.
know, like
Right.
if someone tells you about something that's going on, and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should go. You know, what if there's a lot of people? Just do it. Just go
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
be yourself, meet people. It might not like do anything any right away, but down the line, you're gonna accumulate all these people that have seen you out, and eventually people are gonna be like, oh, I know this person from this person, and it's like, oh, so that's who you are. And like you find your path by just doing stuff and figuring out what you like and what you don't like. But don't put all of your eggs into, like, honestly, like when I used to, at the beginning when I was trying to be an actor, I was doing everything online. Like I was applying online and stuff. That stuff isn't very effective because you're not really making a connection, you know?
Yeah.
And so there's no reason for them to really like pick you. That the real like projects happen when you meet people in person, and then they remember you, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this person would be good for that, and you know. So
And
yeah,
that's
just like,
why, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, Nike, just freaking do it, yo.
Just
Like,
freaking
go
do it.
out.
Let's go. I should have worn the Nike shirt just to promote that.
Also
Honestly,
don't
yeah. Sorry, what's that?
And also don't stress, because I feel like if you put too much pressure on yourself to be perfect at everything, it's like you're hurting yourself.
Yeah, that's
Just
something. Yeah.
experience life,
It's
you
strange though.
know?
Like, not that I like strive for perfection, but I think I don't know what it is. I think as you get older, like you take it more serious and you just realize, I don't know, there's just this, like you said back from the beginning of the podcast, the societal like pressure of this system
Mhm.
where you're getting
Yeah.
to that age and you gotta like start thinking about this and that. And I've realized that lately because I've never used to be like that. I used to just do stuff and put stuff out there. I still do, but I'm saying I always have those like moments where it's like, oh, like could this been better? Or like, why did this person do this? But
Mhm.
I think that's the key. The only way you're gonna survive is just to keep going. Because if
Mhm.
you worry so much about posting one piece of content, someone else is
Mhm.
going to post 500 in a blink of an eye, right? So
Yeah.
that's why I've always been the kind of character, just keep putting stuff out there as best and as frequently as you can.
Mhm.
And that's really important what you said, right? Like meet people in person. This is why I do the podcast. This is why I have Zoom calls, is because with the pandemic and also, the circumstances of meeting up with people, sometimes it's just inconvenient. There's no
Mhm.
reason why you can't have a face-to-face. Face-to-face is even
Mhm.
better than a phone call and is even better than DMs or text messages.
Mhm.
As soon as the person sees your face and sees your like how you communicate, how you carry your energy, like you were telling me, right? It changes the game. If you just knew me from a DM, it would be a different conversation. So uh, that's important, and I'm glad you shared that advice with everyone. So thank you, Ava.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ava Kue6ix, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, sharing your journey, your insights, your advice. It really means a lot. And everybody here, I'm sure, is going to be inspired by what you've said. Do you have anything to say before we go?
No.
Okay. She's just dancing away. She's already in the vibe. We don't want to break it. On that note, thank you again, Kue6ix, for coming on the podcast. Thank you everybody for listening, and we'll talk soon.